You can go now.
Hello everyone. Hello chat. I am looking at chat. Welcome to this YouTube live on Project Pegasus. I am Meghnad. I am the associate editor at Newslaundry. And today I have with me two very special guests, Rohini Singh and Vijaita Singh, who are people who have been named in a very special list, which I will tell you about. Just to give you a brief introduction of what we are going to do today, um, we are going to talk about Project Pegasus. So there is an Israeli company called NSO, which developed a software which they sell to only vetted governments, and that software is able to hack into the phones of targets. That is one part. The second part is a consortium of 17 news organizations along with two other organizations, which is Forbidden Stories and Amnesty International. They did a massive investigation across 45 countries where they found potential targets for this software, which is Pegasus. That is the basic of it. I have done a video on this. So if you want a basic explainer on what is Project Pegasus, how does Pegasus work, so please do check that out. Our team will be posting the link shortly in chat, so you can check that out. And without further ado, I would like to invite Rohini. Hi, Rohini.
Hi, Meghnad.
Hi, can you turn on your camera?
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah. And we have Vijaita. Hi, Vijaita. Vijaita is also here, I think. Vijaita will turn on her camera shortly. But hi, Rohini. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
How has life been after this revelation?
Well, life has been, as it usually is, a little eventful, but really all this just the same.
Just the same. But
Yeah.
so were you expecting, so did you always think that you were being maybe targeted for surveillance?
See, Meghnad, if you're a journalist in Delhi, right, and you're doing a certain kind of stories, even during the UPA, you'd constantly expect the government to be doing some sort of surveillance on you, right? So that doesn't come as much of a surprise. Obviously, people are interested in knowing who your sources are, who's giving you all this information out, and so on and so forth. To be honest, when I was told a few months ago, and that is when The Wire was contacted by Forbidden Stories about this, this list, that I was on the list and that I was one of the first Indian journalists, to be targeted. It didn't come as much of a surprise, given the kind of stories we've done and the stories that I've done. But I was honestly really I was amused that the government or whoever it was, decided to spend millions of dollars just to hack into phones of journalists. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense.
That's actually a very interesting point, and I want to say hi to Vijaita. Hi, Vijaita.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for joining us. Like we were just talking before this, Rohini. I just told Rohini that we will be taking YouTube questions, and she's like, "Thank God Vijaita is there to share the load." So, Kat, you can obviously put your questions. I will take questions from you definitely. But before that, Vijaita, I wanted to ask you about how you got involved, not involved, but how did Wire approach you and how the whole forensic investigation of your phone happened?
So before the story was published, a few days ago, the Wire team got in touch with me and saying they wanted to work on some story, something like that. So I was not told that my phone is under surveillance. I was not told the subject. Anyway, that is a reporting trick I will not like to share here. But yes, they ran some forensic tests on my old phone, my old handset, which was seemed to have been compromised. I no longer use that handset, but fortunately, it is with me. I have that phone, and so that phone was lying there somewhere, like switched off, because I purchased a new phone in March 2020. So after a couple of days, after running some tests, they took out some logs or something, and then they found that there was a serious attempt made to hack that phone.
Right. And also, so you said they contacted you a few days before the story?
Before like a month or so back, I got a call from somebody in Paris from Forbidden Stories. Now I know,
Right.
and they said that they wanted to conduct some survey on some issue. So currently I'm on leave. So I asked them to get back to me in August or September when I get back. So they said it's a little, you'll not, will not take much time because they were also being very secretive about it.
Obviously, yeah.
And they gave me a secure connection. They gave me a secure line for that service. So I was like little surprised. I mean, I thought that survey ke liye itna kya matlab secret.
Did they use Jitsi?
Yeah, Jitsi.
Yes.
Yes.
Rohini, did it happen with you as well in a similar way where they contacted you months ago or days before? How did it go?
Yes, they did. They said they were doing a survey on users. They asked me whether I had an iPhone. I said yes. They asked me whether I changed the instrument recently. I said yes. Then somebody wanted to meet me at Siddharth Rajan's house along with MP Venu. And frankly speaking, when I'd heard this, I'd had a bit of a meltdown then because I'd called up Siddharth and said, this is all about surveillance. It's like, I mean, we get told this every single day. So I said, I'm sick of people calling me up and telling me, oh, you're under surveillance. And I said, I refuse to come for all these. And so I dismissed it as this huge, conspiracy meetings. And I'm sitting there and again discussing about, these things really just mess up your mind. When you're constantly told that you're under surveillance. So should you be meeting somebody? Who are you having coffee with? Should you be, spotted in certain places? So it is, these things can make you very paranoid. And I had decided a few years ago that I'm going to stop being paranoid and I'm going to live my life the way I wish to and conduct my, affairs the way I wish to. So it was, that was the case. And I was told that after I didn't turn up for that meeting, Siddharth told me he wanted to talk to me on Jitsi, where I also had to leave my phone in another room.
Makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, and then I was told, and since that time, I've been trying to, upload the encrypted backup of my phone. But apparently, my phone has so much of data that nobody's laptop has enough free space to be able to do it.
Okay.
So I think now they're sending a special laptop where I can do it, and they'll delete it there and then.
Right. So, guys, I'll just take some questions as well. But before we get to that, I wanted to hear your opinion on, like, even Vijaita, if you may want to answer this question, that there is now a sort of an understanding amongst journalists that they are being surveilled if you are writing or doing anything against the government. How reasonable is that and how fair is that?
So this is for me.
Yeah, Vijaita, and then I can go to Rohini as well.
Okay, so there are two. This is not what the Forbidden Stories in the Wire they have done a story. This is not surveillance. This is just invading your privacy. This is just taking over your life because phones are an extension of our life. And as far as surveillance, the ethical surveillance is concerned by the police or say by the intelligence agency. So there is a chain of command. There is a paper trail. You have to issue an order. You have to give valid reason. And there is an informal kind of a surveillance also where they, keep tracking your stories, who you are meeting. They keep taking out your phone call records. Who are you speaking to? They will track your Twitter timeline. आपने किसका tweet like किया, किसको follow किया. So these things are there. So it's kind of we are used to this kind of tracking, but the Pegasus thing, it's really creepy. Because as a woman also, I feel for my safety, somebody can just switch on the camera and just activate the camera and can just have a look. I'm talking to Meghnad. So isn't that scary? Even and this data is being stored with a third party, with some foreign company. Whoever is doing it, maybe today they have not misused it. Maybe 2 decades later, 5 years later, somebody is just wants to play havoc with your life. What do you do?
It can be a blackmailing tool also, essentially, right? Actually, there are some questions coming in. Rohini, I would like you to answer this question from Iki first. He or she is asking, is there any specific stories you have done that might have been the reason for surveillance? I think I'll go to you first and then Vijaita can answer the same question.
See, I'm an investigative reporter, so I work on very special investigative stories on some of the most powerful people in this country. I report on corporate houses as well as on the ruling politicians. So, of course, I'd done a story on Amit Shah's son. And, and at the time when my phone was selected as a potential target, I was working on a story on Piyush Goyal's dealings with Ajay Piramal.
Which year was this in?
That was 2018. That was 2018.
Right.
2018. So I'm told by Forbidden Stories that my phone was selected, my number was selected at that time. And I also know that there were many people in the government who'd reached out to me and tried to find out as to, where am I getting all this information from? And so I know there was a lot of curiosity, as there usually is when you're working on sensitive stories.
Right. Is this the Jay Shah asset story which has increased by so
yeah,
that story?
Story was in 2017. That was in October 2017. My phone was targeted in 2018.
Okay. Vijaita, would you like to answer the same question? What stories do you think you were doing?
So I cover the Union Home Ministry for the Hindu. So by nature, the beat is quite exhaustive and wide. I will not like to speculate on why my phone was put under surveillance, but we keep talking to senior government officials on whenever a tricky situation appears in the country. Like recently, I was working on the China border crisis story, where a lot of attempt was made to not let the real information come out. So we keep working out. There is census. There are stories related to census. There's story related to NPR. There's story related to FCRA. So I really don't know what interest they have in me, because whatever information that we gather, whatever information we collect, it is in the newspapers the following days. We don't keep the information for our personal consumption, or we don't go around bartering or trading information. It's there in the newspapers. So if they want,
but your sources are important, where you're getting information from.
Yeah,
For instance, I remember one of my favorite stories which you did was the electoral bonds. I think you did a series of stories on electoral bonds, right?
No, I think you're talking about FCRA.
FCRA.
They allowed political parties to receive foreign funds from Vedanta.
Yeah, but in that case, did you talk to any sources which you would like hidden or you would not like to be named? Is there something that happened, or did you just publish everything that you got in that story?
No, so fortunately there was no pandemic that time, so we could have physical meetings.
Right.
So I had a meeting with an official who explained to me the nuances of the story. But after the pandemic struck, everything is online. You have to depend on your phone. I don't know who all has been compromised now. I really feel scared now.
Rohini, protecting your sources, I mean, you have done some very impactful and very stories that would anger the government, let's just put it that way. I'm pretty sure you must have spoken to many sources. So are you scared whether they have been revealed? Has any action been taken against them? Did you see any pattern of that sort?
So if I reveal that I saw a pattern, that would compromise them. So I can't do that.
That's also true.
Yeah. However, having said that, I worry for my sources, right? I mean, of course, as Vijaita said, there are privacy issues as women. Like, I have hundreds of photographs of my son. I've got, photographs of my family members. I may have certain photographs of mine that I may not want out in, let's say, public domain, right? I could have like pictures with family, and, my family values their privacy quite a lot. So, of course, there are privacy issues, but there are also safety issues. And safety issues, not just, for me. As Vijaita says, I mean, this virus can give your live location, tell you exactly where you are, can switch on microphones as well as, cameras, start recording everything that is happening. But also that, and I fear for my sources. I fear that, governments can be vindictive, and governments have been vindictive. Absolutely. And I think for me, it matters a lot that the safety and the security of my sources is paramount, like it would for any journalist. And I'm sure that's the case, for Vijaita too. So I don't know how to assure my sources. And I also think people understand that they perhaps run the risk of getting caught while speaking to us. We now live in times, Meghnad, and I have to say this because the sort of stories I do now is not the first time that I'm doing them. I was doing them before 2014 as well. But now journalism seems to have been criminalized. If you ask a question, you need to explain and answer 50 questions as to why you're asking that question. And during this time, it becomes very important that our sources, people who put a lot at stake, right, even they put their jobs at stake to give us information, that they're protected.
Absolutely. And I think that is a journalist's job. I mean, you have sources which give you information, you verify it, then you put it in your newspaper/website. That is the job. When a government interferes in the middle, that just ruins it, essentially, just to put it simply. We have more questions coming in. Saket is asking, is this Pegasus invasion by the government legal in the true sense? And also, what is virologist Gagandeep doing on the list? I'll answer the second one, but do you guys want to take a shot at the first one, which is this legal? Vijaita, you want to go first?
So we for sure don't know yet who has done this, because government has been non-committal. Government has clearly denied that there has been any unauthorized surveillance. Yet they have not come out with a statement denying that they ever purchased or used Pegasus. So as far as Amnesty's that list is concerned, there are 50,000 numbers of persons of interest who's of NSL's clients, and according to that list, India happens to be one of the clients. Now we are not sure who in India, which agency in India, and government has also not come out. So we cannot speculate as of now.
Right.
No, but I would want to add to that as so far the government hasn't said a clear yes or no whether they have purchased or not purchased the Pegasus app. But they're going out of the way to defend an Israeli company, which is a little surprising considering other countries are asking for inquiries to be done, like France. Right, that is the other thing. So I wouldn't know why you'd want to defend a private company. And if the surveillance is not illegal, the government statement has been very carefully worded. They've said there's been no illegal surveillance. Then is the surveillance legal? And can then, I remember after the entire Neera Raja controversy and when Ratan Tata went to the Supreme Court, there were new guidelines that had come out on whose phones could be tapped and who could be. And this goes beyond phone tapping. This is phone hacking. So I don't even know whether that's legal as per the Indian Telegraph Act, right? These are things that lawyers need to look at. And if indeed, Vijaita's phone, which revealed that there was a hacking attempt, or me or Siddharth Varadarajan, and if our phones have indeed been compromised, then the government needs to explain on what basis. There are no FIRs against us. We are not terrorists. So the government does owe us an explanation.
So I think one thing that I would like to tell the audience also, that the list that came out was of potential targets, and then phones of Rohini and Vijaita and I think Paranjoy and two others were sent for forensic analysis where traces of Pegasus were found. Other than that, there were names like Rahul Gandhi, Prashant Kishore and others which also popped up. With Prashant Kishore's, I think that was the most interesting case where as recent as 14th of July, they saw that Pegasus was active. And that was when he was meeting the Gandhis. So it's quite creepy. It's quite insane what is happening right now. But to tell the audience again that what Rohini said is that there has been no unauthorized use, is what the government keeps saying. And even today, the minister has given a statement where they have not clearly said that they have either bought or not bought Pegasus. So everybody is sort of wondering why is it that they are not admitting or just saying that we didn't. Do you have any theory on that, Rohini or Vijaita? Why won't they admit it?
I have no idea. I honestly don't. I don't know why. Is it so hard for this government to admit whether they did or didn't buy this Pegasus software? It could have been any government agency, any vetted government agency, and perhaps I don't even know why they don't even want to institute an inquiry looking at some of these allegations. I think that's the very basic that any government should do when such allegations come up. But please discuss it. And I don't even think that they're willing to discuss it. The instinct of this government every single time, and you would have noticed a pattern there, is either to blame some, foreign conspiracy, international hand, or there is always some Vipaksh ki sazish. There is never any other, third thing. I don't think they look at all these things with an open mind. And I would like to add that if the government is not behind the hackings of, any of these phones, then I think it's a larger national security issue, who possibly could be interested in hacking phones of, Justice Gogoi's accuser, for instance, and, people around her, or try to hack, into Vijaita's phone. I don't think someone sitting in Rwanda is madly interested in what Rohini Singh and Vijaita are doing.
Right. Vijaita, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I will desist from making any speculation, but the Hindu also wrote a very strong editorial demanding, suggesting that there should be a joint parliamentary committee probe, or a probe order under the watch of the Supreme Court, or any judicial body. So until and unless you investigate, you inquire, on what basis are you rubbishing these claims? And on the one hand, you vilify amnesty day in and day out. And today, the ministers are quoting amnesty. Amnesty has said that, this list is just indicative. It does not mean that all the phones were hacked. So on one hand, you rubbish amnesty, and then on the other hand, you take their, you use their statement selectively to prove your point. And they're going out of the way, as Rohini mentioned, to support, to buttress the claim that NSO is denied. NSO is a foreign company. How are you blindly, deciding to blindly follow them, whatever they're saying? Because they are having huge contradictions in what they have been saying. Firstly, they said that, we do not keep a list of numbers that our clients use through this through this spyware. And secondly, the other day they're saying, no, we also blacklist clients if we come to know that they have been using this against human rights activists or defenders. So there is a contradiction.
Right. And also one more thing, two things I just wanted to add. So I heard this joke someone was cracking, that if you go to any minister's house like late in the night and they're sleeping and you wake them up, they will wake up saying international conspiracy. So it's like every reaction is like an international conspiracy, just that they don't tell you who is doing the international conspiracy, which is very fascinating. The other thing which was asked before is, why was Gagandeep Kang's name there? I would recommend you go to science.wire.in, where they have done a detailed story on why Gagandeep Kang might have been targeted. What she was doing during that time is what they have done in the story. Again, reiterating that unless that phone is sent for forensic analysis, you can't really say whether Pegasus was there. And in some cases with Android phones, even if you sent it for forensic analysis, it is still inconclusive. So it's very high sophisticated military grade software that we are talking about. And just to give an idea to the audience about how powerful this software is, it can turn on your microphone, it can record your camera, it can screen record your phone, which means that even if you're using encrypted software like Signal, they can just record what you're doing and that data would be sent to them. So none of the encryptions, nothing will work. It's just an image of your sort of mobile phone that is being transmitted. That is why it's so dangerous. More questions coming in. I'm just taking the questions quickly. One question that came in is Manal Jamshed asked, why does the government vilify Amnesty International? But Vijaita, just to add to what you said earlier, that whole thing that has been doing the rounds today, that Amnesty has denied it, was fake news.
Of course.
Yeah, and they were like trying to gaslight the people who were essentially doing stories on Amnesty as well.
They mistranslated Hebrew.
Yeah, they mistranslated a Hebrew article from an Israeli website, and then they started sharing it. And then, of course, India Today also got on the bandwagon and it blew up. Now, Amnesty has issued another statement saying that we stand by our story. But this question is interesting. Manal is asking, why is Amnesty vilified so much? Do any of you want to attempt that?
No, so I'm sorry I used a very strong word, vilify, but Home Ministry launched a probe against Amnesty International. Enforcement Directorate also launched a probe against Amnesty, and they cancelled their FCRA license. They were forced to shut shop. So there are cases against them being investigated by agencies here. So so that is where the dichotomy exists. On the one hand, you launch a probe against them and you're saying that they're doing something, fishy, and on the other hand, you rely on their statement. So that is the point I was trying to make.
Yeah. Rohini, you want to attempt that?
Well, I think the government would, this government, I mean, I'm going to be very honest out here, will have an issue with anyone who raises questions or points out instances of human rights abuse. And I think Amnesty has been doing that. Now, we could argue with some of, with some of their observations, but, to vilify them and, of course, and Amnesty, I think, was one of the initial, NGOs that were, when this entire theory of the foreign hand and everyone's jealous of India and wants to derail the monsoon session and everything is happening just to derail the monsoon session. I think this kind of started taking shape, when it started with this banning of Amnesty and cancelling the FCRA license. This whole, foreign conspiracy and the world's jealous of us, etc., started off then, and only because of the fact that, Amnesty was pointing out and speaking up and pointing out instances of human rights violations.
Yeah. And yeah, that's actually very accurate. Also to mention the fact that they are saying that was it timed according to the monsoon session? It was done across 45 countries, so it was not done according to that. Let's just end it at that. Okay, so Shubhash Shlok asks this question. The list in the wire has a lot of people associated with the Elgar Parishad case. Does the panel believe that the Pegasus usage could have started from there, subsequently misused? There was a 2019 story that was done earlier.
There was a story, and I think one of the they've gotten there's evidence from an American laboratory that says that evidence has been planted. And you know why? What makes Pegasus so scary, apart from the fact that it's recording you and it knows exactly where you are and what you're doing, and you're inside your bedroom with the phone. The phone gives you no privacy. It is this. It's essentially this, that evidence can be planted on you today, Meghnad, or on Vijaita or on me, and that's it. And you're sitting in jail and you try to prove it, and ultimately the process is the punishment.
Right.
And we've had instances, we've seen Stan Swami dying in jail, right? So ultimately, what makes this spyware so dangerous, which is why there are demands all over the world now demanding that it be banned. And Edward Snowden is not wrong when he says that this list of 50,000 that you see today is going to be 50 million if we don't put an end to this.
Yeah.
And it was not made to pay. And in the case of, the Bhima Koregaon case, it seems as if it was used and evidence was planted on people.
So one thing, so when I was reading up on this and researching a bit on this, so the lab that you mentioned, they said that there was a commercially available malware called NetWire that was also used. So Pegasus is not the only software out there which does these things, right? They're all used to sort of do things like what you pointed out, which is planting evidence. Just to tell Shubhashish here that they found an instance where in 2017, even before the Elgar Parishad case happened, the hacker was active on 2 laptops simultaneously, dumping 30 files, which included a letter which had a plot to kill Modi. It had a letter on funding of Maoists, etc. It was put in a secret folder. And later, the investigators found that the Word document was of a higher version than the one that Rona Wilson's computer had. So he hadn't even opened it. He hadn't even seen it. So this is super dangerous, essentially. That is what Rohini was saying. Vijaita, do you want to also add anything to that?
No, you should have first added an honorific Modi ji. आपने ऐसे Modi बोल दिया.
Yeah, sorry. Adaniya Modi ji.
So yeah, that is a very scary thing. As we saw in Jamal Khashoggi's case also, The Guardian did a story.
Yeah.
He actually paid with his life, and now it turns out that he was being tracked by Pegasus. And there's this journalist in Mexico, I think he's been arrested.
Yeah.
So of course, this also extends to your physical safety. That is where the concern lies. I mean, people have been rubbishing it कि अरे क्या हुआ आप Indian government को ये नहीं दे सकते हो वो नहीं दे सकते हो. That is not the point. The point is the misuse of this kind of information, where you are able to control somebody's life, where that person is moving, where that person is going. You know exactly what he or she is doing.
Yeah.
So this also concerns my physical safety, and as a citizen of this country, I feel really, really concerned.
Rohini, so I think I would like to ask you this question which is this whole argument of, if you have nothing to hide, what is the problem with your government sort of spying on you? How would you respond to that?
Well, if the government has nothing to hide, why doesn't it just order an inquiry? If the government has nothing to hide, why did it not order an inquiry in the Rafale case? If those who are asking this question have nothing to hide, tell them to give me their password, of all their emails and computers. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? Like, if I have nothing to hide, doesn't mean that I'm going to put out every single photograph for public consumption, or that I'm going to recording every single meeting that I'm having with people for public consumption. I'm sorry, I may or may not have things to hide, but I definitely don't want to be walking around with a live CCTV. And if I do, that should be my choice. It can't be decided by a bunch of people sitting somewhere.
Absolutely. And I think that is important, where people don't understand consent about so I mean, whatever information you are putting out is because you want it out. It's not like someone else is putting it out for you, and that is a violation, just straight up. I feel it's even more important for women to reiterate this, and it's just dangerous to have this line of argument, period. I guess that would be the thing. Just a second, there are many questions coming in now. Manal asks, can the public pressure on the Pegasus issue coerce the government to investigate the matter or clarify whether it was involved or not? I wouldn't say coerce. I think that's a wrong word to use, but I guess we should demand that the government answer these questions. Do you guys want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, Rohini can go first.
No. I'm saying I completely agree. I think people should speak out and speak up and demand that government give answers.
Yeah. Vijaita?
Yeah, I also think so. If there is sustained pressure, they might come up with some explanation, but I don't think that is happening.
I mean, today's the statement given by the IT minister is very clear. Srinivasan Jain asked a very interesting question, which I thought was very relevant. That why is the government reading out statements from the NSO group in Parliament and validating them? Essentially, they are being accused of spying, and they are using their statements to essentially establish that nothing has happened. I think that's a very dangerous thing to do as well, where you're validating the accused essentially and putting their things on record as well.
Yeah. So the minister gave a statement in Rajya Sabha today, and Rajya Sabha has this unique opportunity for its members, which Lok Sabha doesn't have, the House of Elders, that you can seek clarification from the government if a minister has made a statement. So even in pandemonium or whatever, there was chaos, even the House was adjourned, and even that was not allowed. Had that been allowed, if the opposition had, I don't know how to put it, listen to the minister, maybe they have posed questions, then maybe we could have got some answers. But since the House was adjourned, there's no way to know now. They won't take questions in press conferences. They won't take questions on the floor of the House. So how do we know?
But that's also rather unfortunate, right? Like, where a minister is getting up and actually talking about the Pegasus issue, and you get a chance to question that minister.
Yeah.
Isn't that more productive than just disrupting the House?
Yeah, you just let that opportunity go. I mean, it would have been better for the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
Also, the last time this happened, the last time in 2019, when a debate happened on Pegasus, the IT minister, Ravi Shankar Prasad, was asked very clearly, has the government bought Pegasus? And he said no unauthorized use has been done.
That line,
That line, yeah. And that line has been repeated.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think the government is going to get away with this, or could it be the turning point for them? Pankaj has asked. I know this is a very speculative and very...
You answer it, Meghnad. You answer it.
No, but Rohini might want to.
I don't know. I mean, really, honestly, at this point, the only thing I'm concerned about, and I'm sure Vijaita too, is that we're really angry that our privacy targets now. Who's going to get, political benefit of it? Will the government get away with it? Will the government not get away with it? I don't know. I don't know how it will happen, what will happen globally. Perhaps there are other countries value the privacy of their citizens far more than we do. And in India, maybe, there is no concept of privacy, or people don't value it. But I think it's more than that. I think it's about, there's been a consistent pattern, right? I mean, selectively targeting people. Today we've seen there are raids on media houses that don't play ball, that don't publish what you want them to publish. Journalists are defending even that. And so I don't know. I don't know currently the environment that we live in, whether anybody in the near future would be held accountable.
And this is very important what you said, Rohini, that you are angry, right? And you're angry at this whole thing, and you demand an answer from the government, or at least an inquiry, which Vijaita also pointed out earlier. Again, as journalists, I don't think it's our job to sort of even speculate on this, whether the government will fall or whether it will not fall. Sort of our jobs is to do stories, and it's our job is to ask questions to the government and demand some answers, and that's essentially what we're supposed to do.
Yes, but unfortunately, we've become the stories, and neither Vijaita nor I signed up for it. I wish we weren't.
Yeah.
Right. But we're really unimportant people. So I don't know why anyone should spend crores snooping on us.
And yeah, that's also very important, Vijaita. They are spending a lot of money to do this, right? Do you feel important?
देखो हमें if I may answer this in Hindi, हमें रोज सुबह स्टोरी लिस्ट करना होता है. So रोज कुआं खोदना होता है, रोज पानी पीना होता है. तो अगर if the entire focus is on me, or the attention is on me as an individual, this is not about me as an individual.
Absolutely.
We are reporters. End of the day, we have to get information. We have to put it out in public domain. We have to do public journalism for the people. So it is a disconcerting thing that this has happened, and I think we should just put our head down and continue to report and do our stories.
Absolutely. I'm just going to end this quickly in like another 5 minutes. Thank you so much for staying. I know Vijaita has to go and Rohini also has to go. I'm just going to read out a few comments. Robbie is saying, I think we should go back to button wala chota mobile phones.
Okay. How many ministers use that?
Oh, yeah. I will ask a related question to that shortly. Who will take responsibility for something like this? I mean, the government, if it's doing it, it should. If it's not, then it should answer that way. I guess that's the simplest thing to say. Amit Shah has a history of spying. Not going to talk about that. Maybe people like Prashant Bhushan should go to court. I think someone is going to court. There have been also legal notices filed across different countries as well. I think in France it has happened. Yahan pe, unfortunately, a person called ML Sharma has filed a PIL.
Yeah. Sharma was going to court, and we don't want him to go to court. It's the opposite.
Yeah, serial PIL filer ML Sharma. In case you don't know who ML Sharma is, to the audience, just check out his interview with Abhinandan on Newslaundry. Quite funny. Then there is okay. I have one last question from myself then, which is, what are you doing now to protect yourself, both of you? Are you doing anything, or are you not doing anything? We have spoken about the paranoia. Vijaita, you want to go first?
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Nothing. What can you do?
Nothing.
Because they're saying that now the thing is that it's a zero-click thing. So even if you don't click on anything, your phone will be compromised. So if someone has decided, they have decided. But yeah, if you are going for your professional meetings and sources, just switch off your phone and don't be near your phone.
And that is the best thing to do, right?
Yeah, I know ministers who, if they have to speak on phone, they don't carry their personal numbers. And if they have to, अगर वो घर पे हैं, and if they have to talk to somebody like some confidential thing, they go to their lawns and they will go to their lawn and then they will talk on the phone. So
yeah, I have also worked with MPs who have this practice, because everybody just assumes that they are being spied on. So essentially that is one. Rohini, what are you? Yeah, Rohini, what are you doing?
Nothing. I mean, there is. What do? I will not carry my phone with me for meetings. If they're very important meetings, I'll just leave it in the car, and that's it. Because I believe, with this virus, even if your phone is switched off, it doesn't mean that the camera and the mic is not working. So nobody knows how. I mean, people say it's really sophisticated, and like I said, I don't know why anyone would be so madly interested in my life, but clearly, some people are, whether they're sitting in Rwanda if they're not in India. And now, just to protect my sources, I will have to just leave my phone behind. And besides it, there is really nothing I can do. I can get a new instrument, I can get a new number, I can try to be as secretive as possible. But if you really want to get through to somebody, you can.
But is there an element of self-censorship that have come into your life? Like, there is, in the back of your head, it must be there, right? So do you feel like you're censoring yourself more?
I don't think I'm censoring myself at all. In fact, I'm like speaking as freely as possible. And if somebody's listening, eavesdroppers have never heard good about themselves. So, listen in if you really want to. And, and that's about it. I'm a little bit more concerned about certain people that I speak to who I think, being in corporate India or in the government may have a lot more at stake to lose than I do at this point, because I'm a completely private citizen. I work for a not-for-profit organization. There really is nothing that you can, I can't be punished, in that sense. I shouldn't speak too soon, but you know what I mean. Yeah. The way that a corporate house can, or somebody in the government can.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for spending 40 minutes with us and chat. Guys, to tell you some things. One, check out Wire stories on this whole Project Pegasus. Other 17 organizations have done it. I highly recommend you also check out Forbidden Stories. They have done an intense job at doing this. And if you want to know the methodology of how this has been done, you can also visit Amnesty Lab. They have a very detailed explanation on it. Also, please do subscribe to Newslaundry. And we have Swati Chaturvedi coming on NL Charcha, who was also one of the people on the list. And we will get more journalists in the coming days. And Rohini, this story is not done yet, right? There are more coming.
Yeah, there are more. Please, around 9:30, 10 tonight, there are going to be some very interesting new disclosures. I will be at dinner because I already know what those disclosures are. But the rest of you, please, read.
Yeah, you have put out a teaser. Please tell us.
I put out a teaser. Vijaita, to rush off for dinner. I am going to reclaim my life. I'm going out with who have nothing to do with journalism or politics or anything, and they have no idea that they're also going to be spied upon. So, so I'm having dinner with them. But yeah, it's going to be very exciting at 9:30. More people have been hacked and spied upon. So hopefully there should be more outrage.
Amazing. First heard on Newslaundry, guys. कि wire पे story break होने वाली है. I mean, come on. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for doing this. Thank you, chat. Okay. I will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you, Meghnad. Thank you, Rohini. Bye.
Bye.